Hello, everyone. Welcome to Voices of the Vessel. I'm Shelby, the Director of Marketing for the BADGER, the Lake Michigan Car Ferry. This podcast is dedicated to highlighting the people and voices from over the years who have made the BADGER what she is today, as she is celebrating 70 years of service. This podcast is brought to you in partnership with Pure Ludington and Visit Manitowoc, our wonderful port cities. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. I'm really excited about today's episode and honored to include our 4 dog handlers, our canine teams, and talk about what it's like in the day of the life of a BADGER canine handler and how they got to where they're at. So if you guys want to kind of introduce yourselves, talk about your background and your dog a little bit.
My name is Chuck Hawkinson. I'm a retired MSP, Michigan State Police, 30 years. Prior to that, I was also in the military police for 3 years. I have Mika. She's my canine partner. I've been with the Car Ferry for 4 years. This will be my 4th season. Second season is canine.
And so Mika, she is 7 years old, and she's very excited to work, and I believe her favorite treats are...
She loves popcorn and honeycombs.
Honeycombs?
Oh, yes.
Oh,
she looks forward to having a few honeycomb every morning. Matter of fact, if I don't get it out, she comes up, starts and put her nose on me, and kind of get me to go over to the cupboard.
Oh, how funny. Yeah, she knows what she wants.
She does. And she knows when she wants. She knows that dog can tell time, I swear to God.
That wouldn't surprise me if she could.
Yep. She knows exactly when time feedings. She knows she'll get up in the morning at 6 o'clock every morning. We get up and get fed.
So do you have an alarm clock?
No, I don't. I don't need one.
You have Mika?
I have Mika. Yep.
How perfect. Yeah, Mika is such a joy to work with.
Oh, she's awesome.
She's a sweet girl. How fun.
And I'm Dean Schultz. I worked for Ludington Police Department for 26 years, retired, and ended up, this is my 8th season working Mika and Dara with the Car Ferry. And she's an almost 9-year-old. She'll be nine years old in another month. And she's a Belgian Malinois German Shepherd mix.
Awesome, and she is kind of like the queen bee in a way of our fleet of dogs, if you will.
Yes, I like to call them the fleet of pups.
No, it fits. I love that. Yeah, it works very well.
Yeah, she's kind of the old gal. It's kind of she'll put up with a little bit of the young whippersnappers in the group, but then she shuts them down pretty quick when they get a little too rambunctious.
Well, and I think it's fun too is that Dara is like all about carrots and watermelon.
Carrots and watermelon are definitely her 2 favorite treats.
You know, I tried giving my dog a carrot, and they were like, "What the heck is this?" That they didn't want anything to do with it. But it's like, I know, like, people see, like, "Oh, Dara's here today. I'm going to bring in her carrots." That I should have brought her some. I have some at home.
Well, I've been fortunate enough. I had Mika for a little bit that I watched her, and then I've watched Greta for a little bit when Steve goes on vacation with his family. And both Greta and Mika didn't like carrots, but by the time they left, they learned to like them.
Yeah, so you're the carrot whisperer. Is that what it is?
Oh, that's the only treat they get. Then they'll eventually they cave and they'll eat them.
Mm-hmm. I guess I'll have to try that with my dog, but no promises. She's all about the milk bone or some random thing she finds in the yard, so I have to try. But yeah, Dara especially, she just has that like poise that, yeah, queen bee I think is what I think of her as, indeed. But she's very fun. Mm.
I'm Steve Port. I'm a retired deputy sheriff out of Maryland in Harford County, near the east coast of the United States. Prior to that, I did 6 years in the Army as military police and was a personal security detachment for a couple different generals, 4 combat zones. I have Greta. She is Belgian Malinois German Shepherd mix. And she also loves carrots. But she's very ball driven. She loves toys and she loves to cuddle.
Yeah.
Loves to cuddle with everybody.
Well, I think with Greta is so, like, every time I see her, she's so chill. And I remember one time talking about just, like, how do you have, like, her, she's just so chill. And you're like, oh, she wasn't so chill last week when she chewed up my boat fenders.
Yeah.
I remember.
Boat fenders.
So is that her preferred toy?
Anything that she can get a hold of is a preferred toy, yeah. Like, if I don't give her a toy, she will find something and run around the house with it next thing you know.
Well, she's definitely very smart, but it sounds like she's very clever too. And
Yeah, she opens doors and gets out sometimes when she's not supposed to. And
oh, how wonderful.
you'll find her on top of counters every once in a while or a table.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, and she's definitely a great addition to the team, but it's funny of just like seeing her in her uniform working, but then seeing her just like, she's just definitely a dog at the end of the day. And she just turned 2. And I know you had a little birthday party for her, and you sent me the picture of her wearing the birthday hat. That was very cute. And she cuddles with your grandkids and all that. How cool.
Gives them kisses every day.
How fun. Yeah, she's definitely a sweet, sweet girl. How fun.
And my name is Ian Peganailer. I worked for Grand Traverse County Sheriff's Office for 15 years, where I was also a dog handler. This is going to be my 2nd season coming up here with Canine Hans, who's probably the most exuberant out of the 4. He loves his popcorn, he loves his Kong, and he just turned 2 as well.
Oh, that's right, he did. And I think the big thing with Hans is that he is famous for his Hans hugs.
He is. They are notorious around the boat in the office.
Well, and it's funny, like, there's certain people, like, it's almost like we have to be like, Hans is here as a way of, like, get ready for your Hans hug.
Yes. There needs to be a pre-statement.
Indeed. Well, and exuberant is the absolute perfect word for him. That, and all the dogs, like, you can tell are excited to come to work, but I think Hans especially, like, it seems like he's always raring to go.
He is. He enjoys work to the fullest.
Well, and which is great. And I mean, they, at the end of the day, I've said a million times, I'll say a million times again, they are dogs, but they are working dogs, and they clearly enjoy what they do. And what I think is so awesome is that you all have such a great bond with your dogs, that we appreciate the work that you do, and thank you for your service that you've done for our communities. But how cool that you get to come into work every day with your partner. Ian, it sounds like you have earned a new credential, if you will, yourself. You want to explain a little bit about that?
I just returned from North Carolina, where I spent 6 months in a master trainer program. So I was at Tar Heel Canine under Jerry Bradshaw and Derek Beckelman, and there I learned pet training, working dog training, kind of the whole gamut. So
that's awesome. So now this certifies you to train other dogs and multiple kind of arenas, if you will?
Yep, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm definitely going to have to get in touch with you to help me train my new puppy. Now, I don't think he's going to be a detection dog anytime soon, but you never know. That's awesome. Good for you. And you had Hans there with you?
I took Hans with me, yep. He spent the full 6 months there. Got to work him frequently.
That's awesome.
So yeah, he got training over the winter.
So he probably liked getting out of the snow for a little bit too.
He saw some snow when we came home for Christmas.
Okay.
And he enjoyed it, but
we probably
he's
enjoyed that.
He's definitely in summer mode already.
Yeah, no, I can't blame him. Well, congrats to you, and that's a really awesome accomplishment.
Thank you.
So what I think is really cool too is the breeds of the dogs and what they're kind of known for, in that 3 of our 4 dogs are Belgian Malinois Shepherd mix, and it was the Belgian Malinois was the dog that was noted with SEAL Team 6 of finding Osama bin Laden. It was also the Belgian Malinois depicted in the movie Dog with Channing Tatum. What I think is also neat too in research about the Dutch Shepherd, of how they're so versatile and that they've really become known in the working dog community of being able to do so many different things. That let's talk a little bit more about the dogs and their breeds and how they do what they do.
So you've got several different breeds. You've got a German Shepherd, you've got a Belgian Malinois, the Dutch Shepherds. Labs are a big one.
Yep.
Another working dog. The big reason we ended up going with the Belgian Malinois German Shepherd mix is the Malinois have the easiest way to say it is their work ethic.
Yeah.
And with that, and they need to be challenged and pushed and trained and exercised, because they are so high strung, so high, just go all the time.
Oh, and they have energy for sure.
Yeah, well, when you mix them with that German Shepherd, that brings that temperament down as to where you get more of that temperament from the German Shepherd, with that. So they still have that high work ethic of the Belgian Malinois, but more of the temperament of the German Shepherd. And I personally, I enjoy working them because they have that hard, want to go nonstop work ethic as to where, and then the German Shepherd, kind of brings them back into a little more calmer.
Well, and
just an example, as coming down here, I left and forgot something at the house, so I turned around, went back. Somebody had delivered a package, I set it in the house. I opened the door and Dara had the package off the table, tearing it up. Little idle time that comes with the Malinois, idle time, and they look for something to do, and a lot of times it's going to be something destructive. If it's not, something that is positive or
right. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, in not knowing, in my personal life, I've been aware of working dogs, like therapy dogs, that a lot of times you hear of, a German Shepherd is a police dog. And when I first met Dara and Mika, I thought that they were German Shepherds because of their coat. And then I was surprised to learn of, just more specifics about the breed. And so I was like, oh, they're just smaller German Shepherds. And just that Malinois really is a unique, awesome breed.
Yeah, the three mixes that we have, so Dara's got the body of the Malinois, but the coloring of a German Shepherd. Greta's got the coloring of the Malinois, but the body of a German Shepherd. And then Mika's just kind of a mix of both.
Yeah.
And then you've got Hans, which is a Dutch Shepherd. And the best way to describe a Dutch Shepherd, I think, is what Mike always tells us. It's a Malinois with a fancier paint job.
Yeah.
Calico.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and he has that beautiful brindle coat. But especially from last season to this season, I've noticed, he's growing into his ears. He has the big ears.
He does have the big ears, and he's growing up a little bit.
Yeah. Indeed. Which,
hey,
that's what
too.
Yeah, he did look like it looked like he was growing into his paws a little bit.
How much does he weigh now?
He's 73 pounds now.
Nice.
Oh, wow. Yeah, and it's in, more specifics about the Dutch Shepherd that I had learned of, you can train them to, pull carts, to be, cattle dogs almost. I was surprised at, obviously when you train a dog for something in working dogs, it's usually one thing, which I was surprised to learn about. But with the Dutch Shepherd, you could expect them to, pull a cart, wrangle up the kids, wrangle up the sheep, do all of it, and that they kind of went extinct almost for a while, but then have come back and have kind of become a preferred breed almost in the canine working world.
Yeah, they're still kind of a rarity, and you do see more and more of them. Their work ethic is much like a Malinois.
Yeah.
I think, like Dean said, they're kind of a Malinois in a fancy paint job, but
right.
Just the way that he wants to work and that desire to work is, I think, what kind of sets them apart a little bit.
Yeah.
But you have to manage it. Otherwise, you'll have a lot of destruction.
Well, and it's just I've seen them work, and just that drive to work is just so fascinating to me. I could just sit there all day and just watch them. I think it's so cool watching them do what they do, and they clearly love it and always are ready to come back.
And one thing that all of them have that's kind of a common theme is an off switch. They all come to work and they all want to work, but they all have an off switch so that they can have their chill time and they can regroup themselves. And whereas some dogs just can't turn it off. But
I think that's important to note, though. Yeah, for sure. I think that's important to note, though, of they here we are working, maybe an 8-hour day. And then it's we go home and we chill out they should as well. And that's awesome, because I know sometimes people struggle with that, having that off switch. So good on them for having that. What I think is really cool about our dogs is that, well, first of all, they work for the SS Badger that is located in Ludington, Michigan, sails across Lake Michigan to Manitowoc, Wisconsin. But they come all the way from Poland. You want to talk a little bit about that experience, Dean?
Sure, I've had, but fortunate, very lucky that I've had the chance to go over twice with the master trainer that we get the dogs from. It's Mike Morgan through Mid-Michigan Kennels. The first time I just went with them just to see what and how he chooses the dogs, for his working dogs. And the second time I was able to go over and I actually got to pick and do everything to bring Greta back for us, and that was quite the experience. Ended up went through the process, and we narrowed it down to Greta was the very first dog that we looked at that day, and had another dog in mind. And that night, sitting in the room, I was going through all my notes that I had taken, and Greta was the very first dog. So I remembered her, and I wanted to retest her. So the next day, we take them off-site to a place they've never been before, just to see how they'll react, what they'll do there. And Greta ended up made it a very easy choice at that point, because she just ended up standing out above the other dogs. So
how cool. And it's like first dog, first impression. Like, who would have thought? But she's been a wonderful addition to the team. That it's, I think, so cool that you got to be a part of like picking the dog. But was there anything specific that you'd say about like what Greta had, or just that you just knew she would fit into the team?
No, I figured she just would fit in the team. I just really liked her, the way she was, with the ball drive she had, the hunt drive she had, and just her personality.
Yeah.
Was, I think, way better than the other dog that we're looking at. When we came down to basically trying to make that choice. And then it was about 2 days of, did I make the right choice? So went back and spent hours with her. And after I did that, I thought, yeah, it definitely was the right choice.
Well, you definitely picked wisely. Like I said, she's so fun to be around, and I never want to pick favorites, but there's just something about her. And it's like, and you touched on it perfectly when you said personality, that I think all 4 dogs definitely have their own personality in their own ways. That it's just funny of like looking at, and especially because Dara and Mika have a very similar coat, that's like, I honestly tell them apart by their handler. But I think it's once you get to know them, the personality really shines through, and they all have that personality to them too.
Oh yes, definitely.
Yeah, what I think is neat too is in some of the research I've done about like the dogs, and in my random free time of looking up things on the internet, I think it's really cool. Like 3 of the 4 dogs are the Belgian Malinois Shepherd mix, and the Belgian Malinois has gotten to be kind of known in police work, detection work. That had you ever heard of that breed before? Like, you worked here? I mean, is that something kind of known in the community? Would you will, or if you say, because I know it was the Belgian Malinois was the dog that found Osama bin Laden with SEAL Team 6, I believe, and then featured in, was it the movie Dog with Channing Tatum?
Yes.
So it's kind of cool. But then looking up Dutch Shepherds, of how versatile they've become, and just like well known in the working dog community too, just all the random things that they can do. I think it's so cool of their breeds. And is there anything that you say more specifically about like their breed in general, or what makes them
Just their
good?
drive.
The drive.
That we look for, so that they, do the job that they're trained to do. So.
Yeah. Well, I like my dog at home. Like, she would just rather sleep all day. But she'll find the treats. How about that? That's what her biggest.
Most
work.
dogs are good at that.
Yeah. Indeed. And so they're detection dogs, and the work that they do is very important to keeping everyone safe. You want to talk a little bit more about the training that they do, and just like the year-round training?
Yeah, the training, we start out with, the guys went through a 4-week handler course. 4-week handler course. And then after graduate handler course, came to work, for the Badger, they pretty much were out. You guys were out, what, a month or so? If that.
About a month,
After the handler course, ended up getting together. We trained pretty steadily last year with that, leading up into the start of the season. And then, the off season, we try to get together a minimum of at least once a month.
Yeah.
To train. And then as the boat, gets closer, we try to, ramp up the training and get together more, leading into the start of the season to basically condition the dogs.
Right. Well, and when you think of our season as 5-6 months long, that they are continually learning and growing throughout the year too. I think that's very important to note, that it's not just hey, we're going to work today. Like, there's a lot that goes into it. How cool. And so I know you guys have all done your training. Does most of the training happen here in the Ludington area? Because didn't you have to go to like Midland or Traverse City?
We traveled, we're in a training group in Traverse City, and that consists of, how many departments, Ian, do you recall?
Oh, there's about Standard about 8, sometimes 9, depending on how many people show up the day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, multitude of departments up there.
That's
Training.
awesome.
He'll go up, we'll go train with that group. We train a lot just amongst ourselves. And also if we have any maintenance training, any issues that we're having with the dog that we can't correct, we could always shoot back down to Mike, which, he was in Eaton Rapids, now he's in Fenton, so it's a little bit of a hike to get to him, but yeah, so we can always go back down there and train with him as well.
That's awesome. Well, I think that's just a commitment too to the 4 of you and your commitment to safety and our passengers and keeping that at the forefront, because it's not every day you get to see a detection dog or a canine team. What I think is really cool is just you can see the bond between the handler and the dog, and all 4 of you are paired so perfectly. It's just like a really cool thing to see. That I guess what's like your favorite thing about your dog? If you have one.
Everybody's looking at me.
You get to lead it off. Yep. Go ahead.
I mentioned the word exuberance, and with Hans, that is one of my favorite things about him, is his willingness and trainability and his desire to go out and do whatever it is we're going to work on for that day. It also, in certain ways, makes it a little easier that he's so willing to do that for training purposes. But it's just fun to watch him and how excited he gets in doing work.
Well, that's the thing that I think is important too, is that these dogs want to work. It's not that they're being forced into it too. So he definitely has that excitement factor into
Yeah, that's what they live for. I mean, they live to do this.
It's fun for them.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
It's not a job.
Yeah.
It's a game for them.
Yeah, a game. Like that is not to like downplay that it's important what they do, but it's definitely like you can see that excitement. And I think that's one of the things that I like most about them myself. But
For me, with my dog, I mean, a lot of it's the companionship.
yeah.
And I think Ian touched on a lot as far as the training and just having her with me. First 3-4 years I had her, we were inseparable. I mean, I had her everywhere I went.
Yeah.
Took a couple trips the first year I had her, but other than that, gone a week to 10 days, a couple different times. But other than that, we were together all the time. And it's the best partner I've ever had.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
That's companionship for me too. Yeah. And the drive, of course, but because it's funny to watch them change like instantly when they know they're going to work. There's a whole different attitude. And Tanya, my wife, notices too when we come on the boat. She just walks right past her like she's nobody. Like
Oh,
I'm
that's
on
so
a mission.
funny.
And she's like, she totally ignores me when she's at work. But when she's at home, then it's a whole different story. Then it's cuddle time, and
Yeah.
they follow you around, and
Yeah.
you can't even go to the bathroom without them being there. It is what it is, but it's fun.
How cool. Yeah, and it's like, is she, like I said, it's just like so chill that I know like all of you brought the dogs into the office before, like when they're not working, and it's like they know they're here and they're like, come on, like let's go find, like let's go play, let's go do stuff, let's go work. That it's like they just bring that excitement in so many different levels and ways. It's fun. And what's your favorite thing about Mika?
Probably the loyalty.
Yeah.
I mean, just an incredible dog. For instance, the other day I went down to Grand Rapids to see my uncle and spent some time with him. And while I was gone, every noise, she goes to the front window and looks there and waits to see if it's me.
Oh,
And
yeah.
my wife was I get home. I was gone about 4 or 5 hours. My wife said she just spent most of her time right there just waiting for me to return.
Oh, yeah. Well, and it's like you do spend a lot of time with them, and that's a
She
big.
goes almost everywhere with me.
Yeah, because I feel like every time I see you, Mika's usually with you too.
99% of the time she is.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But it's like I think that is a testament to like the job itself of you need to have that partner and that
You have to have
trust
that
and
bond.
loyalty.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that bond is a huge part
Yes,
of
it
it.
is.
So, what would you say is the most unique thing about being a dog handler?
Most unique thing, huh? Well, I don't know.
I think it's just the coolest partner you could ever have.
Yeah,
I mean, quite honestly. They're just, and like I said, the loyalty, the companionship, all that. I mean, for a partner, I mean, you couldn't ask for anything better, and that's what I look forward to.
yeah. No, that's cool. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, you get a lot of questions from the community too.
Yeah.
It's fun to answer the questions.
Oh, it is for sure.
A lot of people are interested in it because they don't, every day get to see the canine working in the first place.
Right. Though it's so true.
Love animals, so.
Well, in my personal life, I have more experience with like a working dog in the form of like a therapy dog for people, or that may perform a task for people. So I think it's neat to highlight that working dogs take multiple forms but can do multiple things. That is not just like, yeah, it's your pet that you feed every day, but they can do a service that, is best suited for a dog. I mean, I like smelling things and doing different things, but I wouldn't trust my nose compared to theirs and what they do. Yeah. I don't know if you had anything to add.
For me, I like part of the challenge of it.
Yes.
Interacting and, like Chuck said, partnership, but it's that communication between you and that other species, which is kind of very unique.
I can definitely understand that.
And just kind of how that looks and how that shapes over time, and developing that.
Yeah, and that trust. Strength would be a good word for it too.
It's a really cool thing, and it's very fortunate we're able to do it.
Yeah, no, that's perfectly said. I think that's awesome. What is something that might surprise people about being a dog handler? Like, I was surprised to learn just all the different training that goes into it. Like, I mean, I think about training a dog, and it's like you teach a dog how to sit, and they do it. And then, but it's the continual trainings I think is really important. That I don't know if there's anything.
I think people are surprised at the amount of work and effort it takes.
Yeah.
Because like you said, just constant, training, monthly training, weekly training, whatever it might be. You tell people, this is how much we've done, or that, this is how much the dog has gotten to this point, and then just the constant training, the amount that it takes to keep them sharp and to keep them able to do their job.
And us, too.
And us, yeah.
Just like anything, though, if you don't use it, you lose it. So
it's
true.
You gotta keep it polished.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Indeed. So do you have any favorite memories from your time with being with your dog or canine handler? That I'm sure that could go so many different ways, but
I think for me it's been the time, like when we go to training, when we go to Mid-Michigan Canine for our recertification or whatever it may be, and we have that, her and I have the alone time in the motel room.
Yeah.
That has always been one of my favorite things, is just, when we get done with the training, it's just her and I. She jumps up on the bed with me, we'll, whatever, we do, and it's just, I think that is probably one of the most memorable things, is just having, just her and I together.
Yeah. That makes sense. And you've sent me some of those pictures too of just like, because I see her at work working, and I've seen her, out of uniform, if you will. But it's like, that's the big thing I think is important, is that they are dogs at the end of the day, and that like you work with your partner, you go home with your partner, and it's like they have just those personalities and fun things that, I think it's fun, like the pictures of her just like chilling out. Like you sent me one at Christmas time where she was like hiding, on all the Christmas wrapping paper.
Yeah, wrapping paper. Yeah.
And she just looks so content.
And there are funny things that happen during training too, like sometimes you might have a seatbelt get chewed through.
A seatbelt?
And it just disappears into the vastness of the vehicle, and you look to see there's only 2 inches of it left.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine things like that.
Or you're at canine school and somehow a Kong hits somebody in the head.
Oh, no.
Or it's your first day at work and you're wondering why your shoe's wet because your dog just peed all over you. He's so excited.
Oh, no. Because he's so excited. Are we talking about Hans by chance?
I won't name the names.
Okay,
no,
okay.
I won't name names.
But, yeah, peeing because they're so excited. I could understand that.
It happens.
Oh my gosh! Well, how fun.
Over the years, a lot of just goofy stuff that they do.
Well, and I have a few pictures of Mika from a few years ago where she is going up the steps. I'll have to find them. And she has like her ears up and her ball in her mouth, and she looks very serious. But then the next picture, she has like her ears down and just has that goofy look on her face of like, I'm ready to play now.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you get to know, it's like, and I guess for me, being like in a different department of like seeing just all of the departments work together, that just the dogs are a very fun part of just a different department to like work with and interact with.
Even like the guys at the end of the day when we're coming off the ship and everybody comes down, we bring the dogs down on the car deck, and all the guys are going to be going off the ship, waiting there as well, and it's kind of like a therapy for them at the end of the day. Everybody's coming up and they're hugging the dogs, they're playing with the dogs, patting them, and it makes them feel good just as much as us.
And that's a very good point of a large part of our crew does live on board, and we are kind of their family in a way, and and I've seen that with it's like they look forward to seeing the dogs every day.
Absolutely.
They may have their own dogs at home that we all get to. Obviously you guys are doing the brunt of the work and taking care of them, but glad that we all get to share them too. That's always fun. When I'm in the office working on something and I hear one of the dogs coming in, it is I know that they're looking for treats or something in my office. It seems like they know all the stops of where to go and who to visit first. And
Yes.
How fun. So at the Badger celebrating 70 years of service in 2023, what does it feel like to be a part of that legacy?
I think it's awesome.
It's very cool.
I always see it when I was a kid, sailing back and forth, going to the beach and watching it. So it's pretty neat to be part of that now. It's nothing I ever expected to ever happen. But here I am. So I think it's pretty cool. There's a lot of history and a lot of people leading up to where we're at now.
Right.
That have made that journey with the Badger and to what she is now, and I think it's awesome. Pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
Reverent in some ways. So.
Indeed.
Yeah, I just think it's an honor to be able to work for the Badger and be here for the 70th year. Been able to the job that we do for it. So, and I hope we can do a good enough job that we can continue this program, and hopefully another 70 years somebody will be sitting here talking about it.
Right, no, for sure.
A hologram or something.
Yes. So obviously you guys work very well with your dogs, but what I think is really cool when we think about all the different departments at the Badgers, the four of you get along like you've always worked together. It seems like, from the outside looking in, that I think you guys have a fun time together as well.
We do.
Yes, we do.
Together.
Camaraderie.
Yeah. Well, and it's always just cool, you see you guys with the dogs, but just your department is so fun to be around. That thank you for what you do and keeping us safe all the time.
Absolutely.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and we've known each other, as far as Chuck and I, we've known each other because Chuck worked MSB Hart, I worked Ludington, so knew of Chuck and met him once, here and there through different things. And then Ian, when I became a handler, he was working for Grand Traverse County as a handler. So when we started going there to train with his group, got to know Ian at that point. And then tried to recruit him one time, and unfortunately, just it didn't, family-wise, everything, the situation when he was transitioning out of law enforcement, it just didn't work. We just had to wait a year.
Yep.
Well, and second time's a charm, right?
Yep, had to wait a year, and then we were able to get Ian aboard. And then Steve just kind of fell into our lap. That was an interesting story as to how that came about. At the time, his family with his daughter were traveling on the boat and his daughter needed assistance and ended up helped her. And as we're standing there, we got talking, and she asked about the canine program, and I asked if we were going to have anybody or a position open, and I told her there was a possibility the following season. So I took his name and number and ended up January of 22, right? I got a hold of Steve, we met, and it was like I've known him forever, because we sat down 3:30 and we didn't leave Applebee's till
8 something.
8 something. Yeah. He was a person that it was so easy just to talk with, and I was crossing my fingers hoping that he was going to take our one of our canine handler position. It worked out, and then from there it's just been a great group of guys to work with.
Yeah. Well, I think one thing that we've talked about in this podcast before that it's so amazing, the more people I talk about. The Badger has this like spirit about her in a way that she just connects people. And, there's so many passengers and employees who have that connection with the boat, but the ability to meet other people, like it sounds kind of weird to say it in that way, but I think it's kind of cool that the Badger kind of brought you all together and, connected you with your dogs, and here you are today. But no, I think it's really cool. Like from what I understand, this program started as, post 9/11 like security, and I think it is a testament to our commitment to the safety of the passengers and the cargo and what we do, and just another layer of that passenger experience. But how can we get unique in what we do? And she has a unique history and a unique future, but it's fun that in today's day and age that we can say this is something that we do and be proud of. So I appreciate all of your time and dedication to what you do, but your service as well. That it's definitely fun working with you guys, and I appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And now a word about our partners in our port cities. If your idea of the perfect vacation is sugar sand beaches, clear blue waters along 28 miles of Lake Michigan shoreline, outdoor adventures, climbing to the top of historic lighthouses, or exploring a charming downtown, Ludington is your destination for pure Michigan fun. Ludington's unspoiled natural resources offer the quintessential up-north experience, all within easy reach, located at the intersection of US 31 and US 10. No matter what you're seeking, a beach or outdoor adventure, a peaceful getaway, or just a community of friendly faces, you can find it all in pure Ludington. As a Ludington native, I know I sound biased, but Ludington is truly an astonishing place. There's always something going on, amazing places to dine and get drinks, along with unique attractions you won't find just anywhere. Plan your visit today at pureludington.com. Manitowoc, the maritime capital of Wisconsin, is the perfect vacation destination for those seeking adventure, a little relaxation, or a whole lot of fun. With sandy beaches, miles of biking and hiking trails, a real World War II submarine that you can both climb aboard and sleep on, a strong art scene, variety of breweries to explore, and array of annual events and festivals, Manitowoc offers so many unique and exciting options for visitors to add to their travel itinerary. As a frequent visitor to Manitowoc, I can attest to the thriving and charming downtown. From classic candy and ice cream parlors to outdoor music venues, there's so much to explore, experience, and enjoy in Manitowoc. I always look forward to going back. Start planning your getaway to Manitowoc, Wisconsin at visitmanitowoc.com.